across there. We were there in different years, but we probably walked the same paths a lot of times. And I tell you, it's just like Joe, and everybody here that served in Vietnam or served in the service period that is here tonight. It's because God had a plan for it, and I tell you that. Because if you read all those stories about Art, he shouldn't even be sitting here tonight. How many awards in your unit? How many men in your unit had the Congressional Medal of Honor?
Oh, I had Connors was the 5th one. He's supposed to over here. He blew his arm off and he died. But O'Malley was with me in the spotlight.
So I can tell you, I can attest, God had another plan for you, and I truly believe that. And I've got to give Joe Daniel Davenport his dues, because if I don't, he gets mad. Anyway, we went through grammar school, high school, and college together, and we graduated from high school on Friday, and I went to work in Nashville at McDowell Tire Company on Monday. Had the world by the tail. Making good money, had my own car, had my own apartment, had my own girlfriend. I mean, I had it made. Well, about 6 months later, the boss came in and he said, "Hey, I'm going to have to let you go. We don't sell many tires during the winter months, so you can come back in April and we'll hire you back." And I remember looking up at him and I said, "What am I going to do? This is October. What am I going to do between now and April?" Because we didn't have homeless stuff back in those days, so if I had, I'd probably gone homeless. We didn't have that. But anyway, seriously, I said, "No, that's it." I came back to Woodbury and couldn't find a job. Ran into Joe Davenport. He and Douglas Todd sitting back there, Gail Blair, Glenn Pascal, and who else? Morris Powell, and Gail Blair. Is that all of us? That's all the ones from Woodbury High School at that time was going to college. He said, "Why don't you come on and go to college with us?" I said, "No, I've had 12 years, that's enough for anybody." Excuse me. But anyway, couldn't find a job, so I hired on. So I wouldn't be standing here tonight talking to you if it were not for Joe Davenport. So if it's not, if you don't like it, blame him. Anyway, after graduating from college, I went to the Army basic training as an Army officer, and then to flight school. After flight school, I went to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Once again, thought I had the world with a tail. I was flying for the Commanding General, flew in the first ever precision helicopter flying team in the United States Army, and really had a good time. I got orders to Okinawa, tickled to death. I wanted to take my family. Well, anyway, I shipped my car. Got to Okinawa, and then I was going to come back and get my wife. First thing I heard when I got off the airplane was, "This unit is going to Vietnam." I said, "Where's Vietnam?" I had to go to the library and look it up to find out where Vietnam was. This is 1962. Anyway, here's a nice little helicopter unit in Okinawa, Japan. Flying VIPs around the island, having a good time. All of a sudden, you get this from the Pentagon saying, "Hey, arm your units with rockets, your helicopters with machine guns and rockets, and go to war." And that's exactly what we did. We borrowed stuff off the Air Force. We made up stuff. All of our helicopters had 2 machine guns on them and 16 rockets. And if you wanted to fire a rocket from each side, we had a telephone dial right in the middle of the console. So you dialed a 1. You got 1 rocket off each side. You dialed an 8, you got 8 rockets off each side. And of course, the machine gun was on the firing position was on the stick. But anyway, we staged out of Korat, Thailand for about a month before we went into South Vietnam. And we didn't know it at the time, but Charlie Brown was with the Air Air Force on this side of the airfield, and we were on this side of the airfield. It was just a small airfield. And we'd go over there every day to follow flight plans, but we never crossed paths until we got back home, and he told me that he was stationed there, and that's how we crossed paths. And when I got to Vietnam, I said, I'll never see anyone from Woodbury in this place, because if you drove a nail through the earth, that's where Vietnam is, just opposite from where we are now. Very next day, white parrot come walking down the street. He was in the Air Force, and he hugged me, and I said, hey, soldiers don't do that. I said, maybe you guys in the Air Force do, but the Army guys, we can't do that. But anyway, he went back to his unit, came back to my unit, and stayed a whole week because he wanted to ride as a door gunner and get an air medal. And I said, no, you're not going to ride with me in a helicopter or anybody in this unit. And why? I said, if you get hurt, I could never go back to Woodbury. So that took care of that little action. Anyway, when we arrived in Vietnam, it was about August of the year, and we got a call the very next day, and they said, your platoon, your flight platoon is going to make the first armed helicopter mission that's ever been made in the United States Army. And so 1 week later, we were doing just that. We flew armed escort for the troop carrying aircraft. And I'll never forget, we went into this landing zone, it was late in the evening. We were softening up the LZ on each side with rockets and machine guns. And here comes the first lift in. And you got to see what kind of helicopters we used back in those days. The old banana-shaped helicopters is what they used, and the H-34s for carrying the troops. Anyway, first troop, 20 banana helicopters go rolling in. No firing at all. So we figured, hey, we did a good job of softening up the LZ. We probably had them cats out. Well, anyway, the next lift, as they say in the movie, all hell broke loose. There were more red bullets coming at us than you could ever count. And I got to thinking, I said, the red bullets are called the tracers. And these are every fifth round belt of bullets. So when you see a bunch of red bullets coming at you, that's 5 times more bullets coming at you that you don't know about. But anyway, we made it through that night mission. No one got shot down or wounded, thank goodness. That didn't happen on future missions. I had a real good friend that talked about God's intervention, so to speak. He was flying along, a bullet comes in through the front part of the helicopter. He's got a flak vest on, and they have a nylon pocket here. And he happened to have a little Bible in his pocket. The bullet came through that, penetrated the pocket, and lodged in his little New Testament. And so, you know, God had another plan for him too. And then the very next day, I had a good friend that had on his flight helmet, flying the mission, and it's like a football helmet. A bullet comes through the windshield, enters between his eye and his helmet, ricochets all the way around his helmet, and comes tearing out this side. Didn't kill him. All it did was damage his one eye to like 2400. So you think, how close can you get to death to have a bullet circle your head like that? So, anyway, it was a so you know, and you think if you were ordered from the Pentagon to go to war, they'd have to do stuff, but we didn't get any help. Anyway, later in the year, we got what they call the new Hueys, the B model Hueys out of the factory. Had the machine guns, 2 machine guns on each side, and 8 rockets on each side, all packaged from the factory there in Fort Worth. Anyway, on our system, our aiming device was a simple grease pencil. Most of you don't know what a grease pencil is, probably. You just put a little black dot on the windshield, and you set your seat the same height, same position every time, and that was your aiming system. And these new factory jobs came in, and they had the helmets that come down, and you drop the little sight down. Wherever you look, that's where it would fire. But it was never as accurate as that little dot on the windshield. Anyway, in January of 1963, we were ordered to go to the far south, almost all the way to the southern end of South Vietnam. They had an enemy unit there dug in, well fortified, and we were going to carry in about 60 helicopters worth of troops the next morning. So we went in there about 4:30 and softened up the LZ, and here come all these helicopters in with the troops on them. Once again, not a round was fired. So we thought, boy, we did good. But the same thing happened. When they come back on the second lift, of the first 20 helicopters that come into the landing zone, 17 of them were knocked out of action. Only 3 of them left the LZ going out. 3 of them were totally destroyed. And on the lead aircraft in that group was a good friend of mine. So without thinking, I went from an armed escort mission to rescue. So we went in behind the aircraft that had been shot down, using them for cover. And as we got down and approaching, we thought, well, we get between the enemy, or get the aircraft in between the enemy and us, they won't be able to shoot us. But when we got about 15 feet off the ground, we received intense fire in our helicopter and we crashed. And the only thing that saved me was we crashed in the rice paddy about 2 feet of water from about the ceiling height there. And I don't know why we had to crash on my side. But anyway, the crew chief was killed instantly. He was shot through the head. The door gunner and the co-pilot thought I was dead, so they went out into the middle of the rice paddies to get down behind the dikes, to get some cover for the enemy fire. And they thought I was dead. And so, once again, God's intervention. The guy that I went in to save, he came from his damaged helicopter over to my helicopter. And he said as he approached it, he said my head was just going under the water. And so he said he reached in the window to hold my head up till he could kick the windshield out and pull me out. And I was unconscious, but I came to as he was pulling me across to get to the rice dikes. And I was thinking, what in the world's going on here? How did we get down here in all this water? And then, of course, I passed out again. Anyway, they ordered the South Vietnamese soldiers to get in their APCs and come get us. That's your armored personnel carriers. Well, the fire from the tree line was so intense that they wouldn't come in there. They said, no, we're not going in there. So we stayed out there all day long. And it's just like in the movies, we get out behind the rice paddy like this. And every once in a while I hold my head up like that and they'd shoot at it. Just like that. Just like in the old cowboy movies. And I thought, don't stick your head up, Jack. Anyway, they finally came in and got us late that afternoon. And instead of turning around and taking us back to the safe zone, they attacked this tree line. And this tree line was about as far as from here to where the grammar school is. And all day long, the Air Force dropped napalm and 500-pound bombs, all day long. And you know, you think, how in the world can people survive that?
When I was in Vietnam, I got into Agent Orange and Parkinson's disease. I'm having a hard time talking. Bear with me. I've got some slides here that can corroborate Jim's rice paddy story. It was awesome. I was originally in for 3 years. Can you turn the lights out?
That one too?
That one too. I was originally in for 3 years, but Okinawa called my name out. It was a beautiful island, beautiful people. and I signed up for another year, actually 13 months. And when I got to Okinawa, 3 days later, I was in Vietnam. They guaranteed me 13 months on Okinawa. They lied. My name is what? There I am, with no idea what was going on. On my way to Vietnam. These are we were on a ship. These are bumboats. They try to sell you cigarettes and candy and stuff. You throw a line off. And it's more ships. I think that was in one of the stops. Sayonara, yeah, that's right. When we'll get this doing pretty soon. Does nudity offend anybody? It's very little. All kinds of ships. Well, this is it's interesting. When I took these pictures, a friend of mine, he pawned his camera, his class ring, his girlfriend's class ring, and gave me the pawn tickets, the pawn tickets. And when he went down, he got killed. So I pawned his stuff out, and I still have his ring. The camera's gone. But I never would have taken the camera to Vietnam with me, but I had his camera. And I took slides with a slide camera, took all kinds of pictures, and I sent the slides home, the film home to Dad and Mom. And it was hard to get film. I got it in June, July, August, nothing in September. In October, November, and then we could not find any more film anywhere. And then the camera died. But I sent all this stuff home. That's a bump from the French in 1954. This is some dwellings.
Was that a shower that was up?
That was a shower, yeah. And there's another bump. Let's see. When you see all the barbed wire, they're on the bad side of the barbed wire. What I did, when I got down there, they didn't know what to do with me. Though they wouldn't understand looking out. And there was security. We stayed on the other side of the barbed wire and stayed out just about all the time. It was great. Didn't have to stay in the campsite. This is downtown Da Nang. It's a self-propelled, 8-inch self-propelled. When that thing goes up, you wouldn't believe. It's loud. 17 mile, accurate, 17 miles away. In other words, they could shoot it 17 miles and put it in your living room. Those are 155s. When that stuff was going off, it was awesome. If you would buy one of those 8-inch self-propelled, you wouldn't even be able to hear anybody talk for 2 days. Another bunker. I think this is, when I went down with 1st Battalion, 3rd Marine, 1-3. And then they were being shipped back to the States, and I went with them as far as Okinawa. When I was there for like 2 days, they called me in the company offices, back down to Vietnam, so I went back down to 2-3, Sept Battalion, 3rd Marines. Entertaining troops. Here's me. It's me again. Wish I could remember some of these guys' names. The fellow with the camera in the rings, I know his first name, but I didn't know his last. So I couldn't return his ring to the door. That's still 328. There was the Vietnamese had tunnels you wouldn't believe. They had tunnels in rooms underground where they actually had hospitals.
Anybody want to read that? I'll stop it and go back.
There used to be a shower. And there was one we had a fellow, we called him Chow Time Charlie. He had a hole up on the side of the mountain where he would fire. When he first started firing, everybody hit the deck. And then we realized he couldn't hit the broad side of the farm. And we couldn't catch him. We tried to catch him, but it was impossible. Shower NCO. That's P. Miller. See the 5-gallon, 50-gallon barrel at the top? Don't ask me how these got in here. No, you're in the right one. This is downtown Penang. Kids are wonderful. If you haven't read the Old Ones and Young Ones text, it's
What's that say? That's a dentist.
oh, what was these pictures? When I sent them home, when I got out, I forgot all about it. And I moved up here. I was up here for 10 years. My mom passed away. My dad came up and visited and brought a suitcase with all my slides. I was blown away. I forgot all about it. I hadn't seen it. I had never seen it. Believe me, some of these pictures I have no idea.
Now we have 9 dogs.
Please pick it up.
That's it. Yep.
I think I said on slideshow, they make some out to be on, now he's going to
Try July. This is the fish market. You'll see here and then. They're down here dipping dead fish out of water, little floaters. During the monsoon season, some of the people take us in. They actually scoop them fish up in the baskets and cook them. And one time I was at a place, and I lifted the lid and it was full of eyeballs. And another one was full of little dead fish. That's when I decided I liked rice cookies. See them ditches there, they're about 4 feet deep. During the rainy season, monsoon, they fill up with water. On my 21st birthday, dear John during the mortar attack, standing on the things in my armpits, cold muddy water. This runs to the shower. You don't put the 5 gallons. Yeah, there you go. That's one of the things for the Lord. What is it, Jim?
Yeah, Jim, you want to know if you know what kind of jet that was?
Jim Stone. Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
What is that?
What?
What is that?
It looks like Marble Mountain. Yeah.
What kind of jets is it?
The name?
Saber jets.
That's the name. There you go. What's that, Jim? How about that? Entertaining the troops.
You don't want to know.
I think we're out. This is open now, I believe. That was in my boot. The rule was always empty your boots out before you put them on. There's a puppy. Kids are great. Oh, the dump. We had orders to do away with anybody in the dump. But what we did was point stuff out for the kids. $0.08. You get any questions about any of these, just tell me about it. Believe it or not, downtown today, and it blew away. Couldn't believe it. You see the guy with the, go back one, Neil. See the guy with the thing on his head? That's the same one who dresses like me.
What about the Togo?
Oh, it is a total name.
What is that?
Mortar shot. That's a grade. This thing's coming mortar. Now these rice paddies, I had a similar experience. We were being fired on, and it was monsoon, and the water was like 4 inches from the road, and you had to jump in on your back with your nose sticking up so you could breathe, so you couldn't get shot in the head. And they were using M1 rifles because after they shot you, you hear the clip fly up in the air. And it's a distinct ring. It's like bang, 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 bang. He's trying to take down a piece of bamboo.
Is there another one?
Yeah. We did that. So try out look for the moon. Beggar. Another beggar. Here's your receipt. Look at that, he's making shoes out of old tires. Good. A lot of the Christians in today, we surprised many. Oh, these people are all waiting in line. Somebody actually come across some ice. We hadn't seen ice in months. And they had a 55-gallon barrel of ice in it. And everybody's standing in line to get a piece of ice. That's my hat. That's as far as I got. One time we were taking a shortcut across a rice paddy and it was flooded and 3 cobras come up out of the water. They didn't know cobras like water. And not that one. Try another one. Yeah, do that one. And 2 of them cobras disappeared, and so did we. They're supposed to be 26 different poisonous snakes in Vietnam. Water buffalo. You don't want to miss one there. Bottoms up. How about that page? And that's where, and that's right to have jump in my hat. With the nose up. Beautiful country. See the steps of the cross? And they had herds of ducks that they run through the rice paddy. About the what?
Kids take it to the dump. Get what you guys threw away out.
Who had one? Go past. You go past them. That's when
Tell the story of her.
we go to her village, go ahead is better. And she had little ragged pajamas on. So when I got to the next village, I bought her some new pajamas. When I come out a week later, she said, so I got her some more new ones and stripped the old ones off and stepped into the mud and dressed her in new pajamas and some flip-flops. And the next time I came through, her brother was over there and they took me down to their house. And her mother wanted me to take her back to the States with me. I explained that it would be impossible. There's a picture here somewhere. Singing dance.
Hey, Joe. Want to get the lights back?
Lights.
Joe, would you like me to tell them what you were saying about the little girl? It wasn't very clear because you were talking into the mic.
Yeah, I've been since 2:30 today.
What?
I've been since 2:30.
Yeah, I know, it's so good. Mother soldiers love here. And when you saw the dump where the mess hall would throw the garbage out, they had orders to shoot to kill. But instead of doing that, when they got to know the children or the families, they would help collect the food so they could take it home to feed their family. That was one story. Another one is a little girl, about 4 years old, that he really got close to. She had just rags and clothes. And so he decided one time to buy her a new outfit. She put on the new outfit and showed it off and then went off and he didn't see her for a while. When she came back, she had the rags back on again. And so the new outfit was maybe either used to buy something else. So he tried out smarter this time and he bought, two outfits, right? He tore off the old trashy ones she had on again. This time he smashed them in the mud and tore them up. Put on her new clothes and they gave her a spare pair. And so she went home looking into the new outfit on, plus she had a spare one to take home for the family. He was called by a family member, I think, a brother, a little bit later, to come to the house. Mom wanted to talk to him. When he got there, if you have the Olden's book that the high school did, this story is in there. The mother, the family, the kids were, Roger's family was all about kids, one right after the other. Well, there's a bunch of kids in the house. the mother asked Joe, would you please take my daughter to the USA, to America? And of course he couldn't. He said, I'm in service and I can't take it. Sorry, it's just really tender. So he was very upset. But the older brother kind of, in their language, did some humorous things to take sadness away. And then they ended happily. And they loved each other. It was great.
Okay, we're going to change things around just a little bit. This is a map of Vietnam. This is North Vietnam paint. South Vietnam is the yellow. This is the Southern Delta. This is Central Highlands. This is all along the coast, the DMZ. That'll come up again. Now, these are just some pictures of the helicopters, a different type. This is a gunship. It'll come up. This was a gunship. The very last thing I'm going to do when I say the guns with slicks then came on high. This is the gun, and then the slicks. These are the slicks. These are the lift ships. That's what I flew. Jim flew the guns down here, except he flew the real old ones. I think they had the crank. Okay, I'm going to just go through a couple of things here so we speed it along. This is I'm not sure whether I did this one or not. These are all, this is 7 numbers that I wrote. And they're either poems, songs. I don't have my guitar with me. I broke a string and this, but the first is The Man in the House. That one had started out my reflections on Vietnam. I was married. I had 2 children. My son was 4 years old and my daughter was 2. And this is a little conversation I had with my son. 069, that's the last 3 numbers on the tail boom of the aircraft, old 069, an old aircraft. And I wrote a song to the theme of the Strawberry Roan and also the tune to the Strawberry Roan. The Sabbath CA. Seemed like in my unit, every Sunday, CA is a combat assault. Every Sunday, we had a combat assault. I don't know, all the planning, all the big guys, but that's, so a combat assault is when you load the troops up and you take them into battle and there's a lot of shooting going on. And so this is what I call the Sabbath CA, and we will do that. And in George's day, this took place on the 22nd of February, 1967, a massive assault, where we brought in, and there were they brought in 10 helicopter units. I had 2 children. And my son Mike is almost 4. And he's running through the house. And I bought a house on Blair Boulevard, that street I grew up on. I carried the paper around. I knew everybody on the street. Everything was taken care of. I had really taken care of things. But then all of a sudden, the walls closed in on me. And I was getting ready to leave. And the thought that I may not ever see them again, sort of taking shelter in my spirit. So it says, I picked up my little boy and placed him on my knee. My eyes so filled with tears that I could hardly see. He sat quietly and listened to what I had to say. You're a man of the house now, son, because your daddy's going away. His little hand held tight to mine as a tear rolled down his cheek. He said, Daddy, I know you're a soldier now, and soon you'll have to leave. I'll say my prayers every night and take care of Sis and Mom. And I'll be your man of the house, Daddy, till you come back home. You're a man of the house now, son, because your daddy's going home. Okay, next song. 069, old aircraft. It goes way back to out when Jim was back in the early days before the war started. Now, So this old aircraft, we happened to have an incident with it. I think I'd only been flying about a week. But we got an emergency call to pick up a special forces bunch that was being pursued by the enemy. We were out resupplying the 101st Airborne. And all of a sudden, it's got this TAC-E, that's a tactical emergency. And so we had to go over there, and we got the coordinates, and my God, it was on the side of this mountain, just a cliff sticking out. And, you know, my aircraft commander, he said, well, we can't do this, we can't do it. But we had to. So we went in, and the aircraft was so weak and everything, we hardly had to turn it around. About 4,500 feet below sea level. Back it in, put the skids on the ledge, and then they climb out. Well, the third time, the crew chief got paying attention to the skid and not the blades. We hit a tree. We knocked about that much off the blades. And I mean, I'm telling you, if you're looking for that helicopter just looking for an excuse to start slinging metal. But so it started bucking and all that. And finally, we had 3 guys in it. Put them on, and we just let it fall out. The gunship picked us up and went down, and they picked us up on the radio and they said, "Can you make it one more clear?" And we were just floating. And pulled any power in, see, because we had sudden stoppage on the transmission, and she was fixing the, you know, we only had one or two pulls that we could do. So we got it down, and just at the end, we had to pull in the power before she started yelling and kicking, slammed on the ground, and got away. All right, the next day, I wrote this song, and it was called, it's old 069. He said, well, I was hanging around base camp with nothing to do, couldn't go to town, I was feeling sort of blue. Well, up steps the old man, and he says, I suppose you're a born chopper pilot, by the looks of your clothes. Well, you figures me right, I'm a good one. Do you have any choppers that need to be tamed? He says, I have one, a battle man, for breaking into pilots. She's one last one. Oh, 069, oh, 069, she's old and she's mean, the unrest I've seen. Oh, 069, I gets all head up, and then by and by, I asked the old man to give me a try. He says, okay, then we hops in his Jeep and rides to the pad to look at this heap. There in the distance, all weathered with time, was that well-known chopper, oh, 069. Then we moves up there closer to take a good look, and I noticed right out that she had no logbook. Oh, Lord mercy. Oh, she's old and she's mean, the honest I've seen. Oh, 069. Now it starts on my pre-flight, all anxious to go. Show these green horns what the old pilot knows. The tail boom was a wobbling, the 3 bolts were there, and rivets had popped from the turbulent air. I didn't check the head, for there was no need. The blades were all split, but were easy to see. Then I climbs into a seat, and our butt was uptight, and adjust the pedals till we felt just right. And after my pre-start, and then by and by, she finally caught on the 17th try. At three, the reason this is really funny, if y'all knew what I was talking about, is that on the 3rd try, you gotta do a hot end inspection because you're burning up. But on the 17th try, she made it. And there was a 1-to-1 and a high freak too. She was bouncing around and till my belts all came loose. But there wasn't always. I did detect. It was that of an old Radmac reject. Radmac rebuilds old helicopters. So I did hear a noise, and he said, it's too late because we're airborne now. I didn't pull pitch, so I'm not sure how. Hanging on was tough, and the winds were mean. This is the roughest damn chopper I ever have seen. She was pitching and yawing and turning around, and the console was a lit up and making strange sounds. Then she jumps to the left and throws me out free. At what height? I really couldn't see. But there in the river, I lands with a splash, and I see old 69 coming down fast. And there at the bottom, she flares on the pad. It stops on the mark where this whole thing began. Oh, 069, she's old and she's mean, the honest I've seen. Oh, 069. Okay, that was a long one, I'm sorry. Okay. Sunday, I mentioned Sunday CA combat song. Okay, I came back from a Sunday combat song, and I wrote this song. And I put the words to it, and went over to the snake pit. We were out in the field, but the guns were coming. They had a parachute, and they had one of these, I don't know where they had one of these Coca-Cola coolers, great big when they had ice. Always had ice, right in the middle, can't anybody get in there. Those guys could get it. They had beer and Cokes. And so I went over and I said, hey guys, what do y'all think about this? And I sort of gave him and said that. What's the day, not the date? If it's a Sunday mission, we won't have to wait, because Sunday's the day we all get to pray. The Sabbath is always the CA day. So, the guy said, hey, man, that's pretty good, right? Said, you ought to do that to bring it in the sheaves. I said, well, we'll try it, I don't know. So it came out, what's the day, not the date? If it's a Sunday mission, we won't have to wait. Sunday's the day we all get to pray. The Sabbath is always a CA day. And then everybody starts on. Then it comes up and says, birds are crying, chalks check in. At 05, it'll all begin. Lead pool's pitch forms visa 3. It's 25 minutes to the first LZ. The guns are out and up ahead to give us smoke and check for lead. RPO, areas in sight, and the guns are prepped, and we're all uptight. As the LZ nears the landing zone, as the LZ nears, we start our descent. If she looks pretty bad, we don't look again. She's full of stumps on the slope, and the winds are churning and fighting for smoke. The rockets are blazing, and all the guns are hot, and 1,000 more tracers are marking the spot. As the ground comes closer, the troops are ready. The choppers are pitching. She must be steady. Those dependable sounds ring out from the rear as the gunners are checking to make sure that she's clear. A mortar explodes as the troops scramble out. Chop 2's down, and it's firing on our back. We're clear now, climbing out. Then Chop 4's hit by sniper fire. So next time in, better watch your step. 106, 5 soldiers left. Got to come back 5 more times. So ends this lesson on the way we pray, to be continued next CA day. What's the day and not the date? If it's a Sunday mission, we won't have to wait. We were up in the mountains of Kanton, and all of a sudden this right in here somewhere, and we came down. This is Saigon, about up in this area, right on the Cambodia border, a place called Tay Inn. And this was on the 22nd of February, 1967. George Washington's birthday. So I got a song here I've written called George's Day. And I'll send part out of it. We'll just recite. It says, oh, we gathered down Tatum Way for a big assault that day on the birthday of George Washington, our man. Well, they served no cake and cream, just lead and hot hills. Oh, no, make a show on George's Day. Well, the Mountaineers came in. I was a Mountaineer. Mountaineers came in with their destined moonshine gin, because Johnson City would soon be on its way. And the Delta men appeared with their tans and GI beer. For it all, like a show on George's Day. 10 by 10 we go, staggered left for the show. As Charlie, the bad guy, lay awaiting by and by. And a warrior and his crew were there to make the move. That old warrior. He's the big guy. He's on top. He's a howler. A warrior and his crew there to make the move before we all make a show on George's Day. Now, these are the different helicopter units. The Rattlers had to lead, first 10. The Rattlers had to lead, but old Charlie took no heed. Because the beach bums, I was a beach bum, and the beach bums and the Bulldogs stayed close by. And the Hornets had a trail, but all played with hell. For we'd all make a show on George's Day. Yes, we'd all make a show on George's Day. Well, each time, Charles was there. And I guess he took his share. Because Charles were left there on the ground. Mustang was the first, but old Panther was the worst. For we'd all make a show George's Day. And then as the day came to an end, en route back toward Tay-N, the old warrior comes on the radio, loud and clear. Break, break, and he went through each one of us. Says, good job, man. And you've all done it again, and we all made a show on this day. Yes, we all made a show on George's Day. I didn't see any music with that. Okay, next, George's Day. All right. Okay, fast forward. 26 years. It's June 1994. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, working the floods, civil engineer. And I was working 7 days a week, 12, 14 hours a day. And I got sick. I got dehydrated. So I was laid up in bed. It was on the 6th day, excuse me, the 6th day of June, which was the 50th anniversary of D-Day. 50th anniversary of D-Day. And I'm watching this. And I keep looking at every station. And all of a sudden, I felt a great pain in my spirit. When I thought about my guys, and I had 50 of them that I was responsible for, 12 helicopters. But not only them, but the thousands that we must have carried in the battle. And the courage, the loyalty, the dedication. It just, because, you know, we were looked upon as, was mentioned earlier, you know, people spit on us. Nobody spit on me, but this was the word. They spit on, threw trash on them, you know, called them, harassed them. So I wrote this poem. It's called June 94. It says, while viewing reels about Normandy 50 years ago, I saw some of you standing there. I surely used to know. But even in my confusion, I knew it could not be. But sure enough, there you were again, looking back at me. In youthful anticipation, standing prepared to go, with that same loyal, courageous manner like you used to show. Not aboard a landing craft or even a glider plane. For your station, it wore rollerblades, but your spirit was the same. So sure as I'm sure of anything, I can stand and shout too long that if Normandy had been on your watch, you'd have hailed that beckoning call. Yes, yes, yes. God bless you, brothers. Amen. Okay. This land's not our land. It's an Army tour land. From the Southern Delta, Justin, a voice is calling. This land's not made for you and me. This land's not made for you and me. And there were rockets and mortar rounds, the smell of rotting fish and chopper sounds. But still, that voice was chanting loud. This land's not made for you and me. But as the time went by, I slowly changed. With a stench of death, a soldier came. And as the sounds and smells rang in my soul, this land became part of me. Yes, this land became part of me. So this land is not mine. This land is their land, an Army tour land. From the Southern Delta to the Central Highlands, all along the coastline to the DMZ, this land is now part of me. Yes, this land is now part of me. See? I wrote this poem on July the 4th, 1982. I went to the funeral. I mentioned Sam Cowell. And it was just, when I got home, I guess this might have been the first thing that I had written since I left Vietnam. But it's, and as I mentioned to you earlier, above the best is the motto for Army Aviation. Slicks, guns, slicks, they're going to enter into this. Okay. We lay to rest a special brother from above the best. He known well the sting of battle as the off-in ceremony from Sabre. And those toast on high with the spree and fun as the many times when there was none. But no banner, no bugler, no fire trails, so pay tribute as those rudder sounds. Then I heard it. I knew I did. As the flight lined up and was checking in, and a gun with slicks and came on high. As chopper sounds filled the sky. As those birds of war showed their despair. Yes, I knew for sure Chalk 2 was there. Chalk 2 was the missing aircraft. Yes, Chalk 2 was there. Thank you. Oh my goodness, where is it? Thank you very much. Okay, thank you guys. Pretty good with the helicopter stuff. Any questions?
I got one thing, Charlie, that I forgot to say, talking about divine intervention. When I got out of the hospital in Saigon, the guys had gone and recovered my helicopter that was shot down. And they said it had 17 bullet holes in it. And, you know, a helicopter's pretty confined area. So 17 bullet holes. So what they did, they took monofilament fishing line and tried to trace all the bullets that went in the path, because once the bullet goes in, it ricochets. And so anyway, when I got out of the hospital, I went over there to see this thing. And as I approached it, I thought, well, there's been a monster spider that spun a web in it. Because that's what it looked like, just a big web. And so I said, I've got to go sit in the seat. And I tried to sit in the seat where I would be flying. And you would have to be looking this way when this bullet went this way, and this way when that bullet went that way. And so you think, you know, how close can you get to death? But anyway, when I woke up in the hospital smelling that water, I never feared death again, because I said, if you die, you're not going to know me. Y'all don't worry about it, okay?
Any questions?
I'd like to ask Colonel Stone, I missed your always had it, Colonel, was when a helicopter was lifting, the humidity, heat, how much effect, how much sometimes you really struggle in a LZ to get off that LZ because of the humidity and the heat. Can you explain how that affects lift?
You probably need to address that to
I do.
because see, we just flew the guns and we didn't have that problem, so to speak. You see, when they ordered the troops, that's when you got the problem on that lift.
On the lift, humidity and heat, affect the lift. Yeah.
I was just unbelievable.
I was amazed you take off sometimes, you just want to try to take off.
You know, we just generally, I don't know.
We had to go past the red line a lot of times to do that. They had the problem.
We just have to be careful.
These guys didn't pour any